Champion. Oh shit.
Yeah, he got that rolling.
Nah, I ain't realize how dry my throat. That sound nasty, but I ain't realize how dry my throat was. So I just got an orange.
We got Dr.
My president is black. In fact, he's half white. Gee.
So even in a racist mind, he's half right.
Hey, my president is black. My Lambo is
blue. And
goddamn if my rims ain't true.
Femi, where's your apple cider? Let me take it.
Hey, you got jokes, man.
I don't remember.
Now y'all want to move.
Giving the people nothing right now. Quarantine edition of the opening. You feel me?
This is Travel Talk with us. Really appreciate y'all for still tuning in on a weekly basis. To the podcast, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all are amazing still. We really appreciate y'all for tuning in, listening, supporting, commenting, still liking all of our posts and all that jazz. But we got some good people in the building, like I said, some returnees, you know what I'm saying? One for sure, my guy, we've been guys for like God knows how long, I don't know, 12, 13, I don't know how those count. Same with the other gentlemen who've been guys for quite some time. But I got my boy Sam Adar on the platform again. Some of you know him because we've had him on here once before because they were the ones that assisted us in the rebrand of our podcast. But now he's Hollywood. So.
Not at all.
In a humble way,
Great time.
We at this point, if you were to ask Africans if we can afford his price, we'll tell you no.
Hey, we couldn't afford it back then, but
we found a way.
I made a way. You feel me?
We found a way. For sure. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Like your psychologist fees with me, fam. You know what I'm saying? I got to one day, my brother.
Let me hold your stimulus check.
I ain't got no check, bro. So you can hold it. You probably got mine. Cause I ain't getting no check.
Let me get
I ain't getting no check either, y'all. So we in the same boat.
I ain't buy my
joint. They talking about they gonna get millionaires.
My man
Toba gonna get millionaires some checks.
Toba, you got like 6 kids times 500.
No, don't add numbers, B. I got 6. So I told y'all orange face mans to run me my check.
Yeah. And we got our boy Rob Tobert with us. Yeah, he was one of our very first features when we started off the podcast and been an active supporter for the past 5 going on 6 years now. So we got our boy Rob Tobert in the building. So gentlemen, let's go ahead and get y'all quarantine updates. How you guys managing? I know we talked off pod about it, but if you can go ahead and share, to the people of the podcast world, how you feeling, how you been maintaining all that jazz.
I've been all right. I think that it's a privilege to be able to social distance yourself from folks. So every day I'm just grateful that I can have a refrigerator full of groceries and have a roof over my head and have some money in my account. So I don't take that for granted. But, even in this moment of privilege, there's struggles. So just, trying to stay optimistic. The future doesn't seem clear to a lot of people right now, but that's just been my basic struggle, like trying to plan for the unknown at this point.
We owe some money, bro. I said, let me hold some money, bro.
I didn't get no stimulus check either, so.
You can win as long as you keep your head to the sky.
That's my jam. You can win.
So how's I know we was discussing a little bit, but how's the quarantine been for you?
It's all good, man. We're making it work. Trying to keep busy. My job want to give me way more work so they don't have to have a reason to fire me. And then the kids is, on my tail every 5 seconds on top of, my wife making all these masks and whatnot. So it's busy around here right now.
Yo, she selling masks, bro?
Yeah.
Word?
I ship?
Yeah, we ship. My wife is from New Orleans, and they've been that city been devastated by the virus. Her brother's a first responder, so she started off just making some just to donate to them, but then a lot of people reached out to the social media page and then her personal page to get some personally made, and it's booming. She's been backed up. We had to stop orders just so we can put up a site today, and we're supposed to launch the site, if not tonight, tomorrow morning. ShopTheRapture.com. But we're getting stuff done.
Send it to me so I can
Shop the
promote.
Rapture?
Shop the Rapture with a W. So we've been making masks, African print masks, solid colors for people who are in, more, traditional professions that, those wild colors would be a little bit too much for them or flamboyant. But yeah, it's been a lot.
Wow.
Okay. So, I guess Rob, Sam, both of y'all been working?
Ooh, yeah, sort of. My job ended like earlier this week officially.
We're gonna get into that. Right?
Yeah, we'll get into that. But I've, it's a good thing. Another privilege to be able to be a creative in multiple aspects. So I've been able to get some client work as I look for something more steady or continue doing client work. So we thank God for that.
Okay.
Rob, what about you? You're 9 to 5 still working from home, all that? You good?
Yeah, man. Life of a consultant don't stop, or at least not for now, or until Trump start cutting in some of these budgets and they start talking to the contractors like, yeah, so about your contract renewal, you know what I mean? Right now I'm safe, knock on wood, so can't complain.
Now you gonna go get that unemployment, bro?
Nah, they ain't gonna give me that. They ain't gonna give me that, and they ain't gonna give me that and the stimulus check.
You can't even get it if you tried, man. It's so backed up.
I mean, it's not even so much that. What's been happening is they've been putting the onus on the banks, and the banks are like, all right, well, I'm gonna give these business loan checks and whatnot to the people that we already fool with, the people we have high standing with, and the larger scale businesses are getting the checks first, whereas the small scale businesses who need it the most, they're being denied. So what's ended up happening now is, the money that's necessary to people who really need it aren't getting it. So it's just unfortunate that, this is the kind of America we live in right now.
That's what one of my boys told me, because he's a full entrepreneur, and he said that's pretty much the issue he's running into during these times, that literally that's what the banks should know, and they're not even looking the way of the little guys, which is crazy.
Maybe that's why I didn't get my check yet.
I mean, look at it this way. You go talk to any financial guru, they're going to tell you you're supposed to have at least 6 months of bills and financials saved. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, airlines, malls, big retail companies, this their first time probably, and majority of the span of their business are catching hard times, and they bailing them out first. You know what I'm saying? But they tell the regular people, you need to save better, you need to pull yourself up, you need to do X, Y, Z. It's all a hustle, man. It's like I said, it's unfortunate that the way it's rolling out right now.
It's government agencies that's running out of cash, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I mean that's why your man Trump is in the junk. Like, people need to get back in the street, liberate yourselves, go protest, because he's losing financial contributors because their businesses is running low. So it's like, it's all he playing the long game, but it is what it is.
So imagine a scenario where the larger economy is actually living check to check. Like we look down on people. We talk about people, like I said, financial advice or whatever. But look at this, all these organizations that are like critical to the economy, that keep the cash flow, the cash cycle moving, that everyone is involved with. You know, interest, loans, all that stuff, investments, and all of that is even living check to check. If the whole economy stops, boom. You know.
Then the economy needs to go and print more cash.
I have my game plan ready.
Guess what?
Game plan ready if I lose my job. So
you said what?
Hey,
what's your game
plan? If I lose
plan?
my job,
what's your game plan?
Okay. I'm moving home and I'm going full entrepreneur, man. I'm gonna be a full-time painter.
Man, you know me.
That's how I look at it.
And that's what I've been doing during these times. I've been making sure I teach more. I've been teaching Yoruba, teaching IT. I'm doing it all, baby.
I think like this moment, we're going to see a lot of innovations as a result. One sector that really just got blown to smithereens is the education sector. Yeah. So like there's a lot of financial institutions that were just totally unprepared for having a digital operation. Like what we're doing right now, people going on Zoom, people doing Blackboard or what have you. They're going to have to start like thinking of how to make these classrooms experiences all virtual. And some places already suited for
worth the money.
Exactly. And it's even a bigger investment because when it's virtual, you can have class anywhere and everywhere. You can reach more people. But we see that in colleges and universities, but I'm pretty sure that's going to extend itself to like public schools, middle schools, elementary schools, high schools, because a lot of, there's already a lot of like places who are going to make students repeat the grade as a result of this coronavirus. And
so they said I think Virginia had to close their Zoom classes for like a few days this past week because I think
hacked or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
somebody crashed
Zoom bombing. Yeah,
and they hacked into it and they was like cursing or doing like this wild stuff that's not good for kids. And I'm like, man, during this time, people are still being wild, like
at home.
What else? It's probably the kids themselves.
Bro, but we talking about
probably
kids.
The kids ain't trying to go to class.
Man,
they'll be in the same class next year. That's when they go.
It's just ridiculousness to me. Like
my little sister's supposed to graduate high school, and I'm just like, I'm thinking about like what, because she got into Towson and a bunch of these other schools, and I'm like, you better off just going to PG at this point because they are going to be teaching you the same thing the same way. Save money.
It's going to be cheaper.
Like, ain't no point.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, but it's state, and if hopefully they'll reduce the tuition because I ain't, we're not getting the same.
If you've been making the same amount if you've been taking in the same amount of money from kids for how many years, like even taking more gradually, you think you're gonna start reducing it back?
Yeah, if I'm doing online classes, I wasn't doing online before. I
don't think these colleges are gonna do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of colleges have given back some of the money.
Yeah, some colleges have done that already.
No, giving back the money that they owe is one thing, but cutting the tuition back. Do you think they'll start cutting tuition?
Like you said, if more people start saying, "I'm gonna go to PG," they're gonna have to do that.
But then again, I think also too, and I think this also goes back to conversations that we've had, we've touched on briefly in the past, where at times the name of the school carries so much weight that people still value big name schools and attending those big name schools because they want to make sure that when they're in certain rooms or they submit certain CVs or that's a CV, that's so African. Certain
facts.
Very African, bro. But we all on this call get
send me your CV.
Submit your resume. You're favored in a certain light because of the place that you went.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll be like a significant drop off, but also in the same sense too that a lot of people still want to do the whole college experience thing too. Right?
But then I have to
actually
question,
meeting people from other places in life and like adapting and learning and all that type of stuff.
If you think about
but I have the question.
Go ahead, bro.
Do you think when everything gets better, jobs are just gonna jump back up and employment is gonna go straight down? Like once all this is over, like
certain
things are gonna go.
Exactly.
I think certain jobs will Well, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
There'll be a shift. Right? Things that are more technology adaptable, virtual, all that are going to boom, right? And those that aren't. So it's like a shifting of the guard, you know.
I think there's going to be, like what you said is absolutely true. There's definitely going to be a shift, but I think like industries are going to like move more to automation. Like, how can we move people outside of this? And then we're going to have to ask ourselves, are we going to need like a universal basic income right now? Because people are going to be continually out of jobs. I don't think, to Mitty's point, like there will be a decrease of unemployment naturally because the economy is back open. But I think the sustained long-term unemployment is going to be something that this country has not seen and experienced since the Great Depression. So I do believe there's going to be a case for like a stimulus like off break, you know, for anybody who's out of the job.
Andrew Yang called it.
Yeah, Yang.
I seen something that talked about they were thinking about giving anyone who's a millionaire like 1.6 million to help them, and I'm like,
oh God,
what about the folks in between?
That's
if I ain't get my check, I'm about to raise hell.
That's trickle down economics though. That's a really Republican, rich people, elite.
I mean, you can say
thinking. They think that when you give money to the people at the top, they will.
It's not working.
Jobs and opportunities for them. It never works, bro.
It never worked. It never worked.
I mean, look at right now. Like the people who are working the most are, you know, what, you know, rich people consider people who are, you know, lower class. But all of these people are the essential work they're the only ones keeping the economy going right now because the grocery stores got to stay open. The postal service, the shipping companies, food prep, food services, chefs, like all this stuff is keeping, you know, the money circulating still, and you know they're the ones that need it the most, and they're not being protected.
Yeah, Ply said it himself. Like, pay them like they're putting their life on the line. Like these people are making, like
they started.
The minimum wage hasn't changed in what, decades? You know, they're still making what, $8 an hour or whatever, and like
$7.25.
Exactly,
$7.25. Some states have gotten to 15,
some states,
but you know,
not
nowhere near enough.
Yeah,
15 is not enough even. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
Like we live in, you know, the DC metropolitan area, Medellin, and Cali. Cost of living is sky high. What are we gonna do with $725?
Y'all better move out here to Waldo for me.
You know what?
Let me renew my passport before I go out there to Waldo.
I be telling everybody.
So I mean, think about it. You have airline industries crashing. You have petroleum, oil, and all that. I haven't been to the gas station. Someone told me gas is like $1.75.
$1.75. I filled up for $26 the other day, and I got a truck.
$1.69.
Bro, I even got on the high end. After that, I had like $1.89, and usually my car, because I do the mid grading, so usually my car takes like $40 to fill. I was touching E. I put like $26 in there, bro. I'm at like full.
Mind you, this is the first time I put gas in my car in a month.
Just ride the whole $4.95. So that tells you just how fickle like the economy is. Like it was how much for so long. Look how quick. Boom.
It was like 30-something. Now it's freaking.
I seen something that said Emirates is about to start doing blood tests for people getting on their flights.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, that's crazy. People like that.
Because how else would someone feel comfortable to get on that plane or for them to resume business? That's a difference.
I do not feel comfortable with a private company having access to my blood type.
My blood.
You shouldn't be wanting to fly then, bro. But people that
are not to.
Hey, I'm not flying. Where am I going at this time? But guess what?
Mr. LA, I'm talking to him.
I know someone that wants to raise the minimum wage up.
Yeah.
But they didn't allow him because they don't want this country to be great. And I've tweeted this a few days ago.
I was feeling the burn.
You know how
I felt the burn for how many of my years. But this country, they want to be on the bottom.
But that's what I'm saying.
And that's why we are bottom feeders right now.
My friend. But that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, Zoom.
America is bottom feeders.
Zoom stop. On the economics thing, we're about to go there, but on the economics thing, Zoom stock way up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is.
Non-stop. You know
I'm
how
mad I wasn't hit.
Bezos?
I bought the stock in Zoom. Yes.
Bezos? Do you know how much they are?
Bezos is already a trillionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
of
say
his-
his wealth in this time like 25 billion. He increased it by 25 billion.
He's now
Everybody's shopping on Amazon.
He's now worth trillions.
So that's I say that just to a word to the people, the listeners, everybody. Like, just think about your skill set, think about your industries or whatever. Just try and think about like, how can I move to the modern digital age?
I mean, like the
innovation, disruptive innovation.
Yeah, it's that, but it's also like, all right, there are people who are like still getting left behind in this country, right? There are still places in rural America that doesn't even have internet, 5G, right? So they can't even log into Zoom and share that experience of being innovative online, because the digital divide is still something that's
I mean, that's what was
apparent in America.
That's what's greatly affecting education, like you said.
Right.
A lot of teachers now are at a disadvantage, especially like middle-aged women and older women who teach. They have a learning curve of trying to now have a whole digital platform to teach their kids. Then, most kids don't. A lot of kids don't have internet. A lot of kids don't have laptops. A lot of kids. I had to buy my son a tablet this week just so he can do his school assignments.
Is school not giving out Chromebooks? Because I
know it's in PG, but how many counties in Maryland? You see what I'm saying?
Wait, how you
think about DC?
Going to school in PG?
No, not my kids don't go to. My mom teaching PG though, but I'm just saying.
In PG, we could like Waldorf is considered PG, but it's a separate county.
It's not. It's just it's Charles County. It ain't. I live out here, but I'm not a resident. But anyhow, but they don't get the same amenities. You know what I'm saying? Also, Charles County is much smaller than PG County. PG County got just under 1 million.
Oh, you're joint muted. Is it just
Robert? Your kid's tablets is taking your service, bro.
Roberto.
Robert, there, can you hear us?
I'm about to chat him.
I think is he back?
No.
Oh, you know what? He back.
Oh, he back.
Oh yeah, I cut out.
Yeah, you got that 2G, bro.
You see, I told you I'm in the sticks out here. But no, what I was saying is, they've been switching a lot to like Microsoft platforms and putting the onus on the families to find internet themselves, and that's just not available to everybody, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
My cousin in Ghana, just to what Sam was saying, you know what I mean? Like, so he works for, I won't say where, but it's a really high prestigious place in Ghana, you know what I mean? He doesn't even have a work laptop, you know what I mean? So he's been at home, sequestered, isolated, whatever. They're emailing him stuff. Now, he could have had a laptop. I mean, he comes to USA and all that, but instead he was buying PlayStation 4. You know what I'm saying? So my man's, he's using his dad's laptop to log into his email, to download stuff, to do his work and all that. And it's just crazy. It's not secure. And someone next door can hack in the joint. So if Mitty lives next door to him, he's toast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why would I hack his stuff? I have no need to do that.
Because you're a hacker. That's why. But it's not secure though. Transferring all these sensitive files and all that. To the point he's saying, and the internet is not even reliable. So how long keep on and do all that, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, infrastructure means something different right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I could only think it's gonna get worse in like places like Nigeria, because it's like, yo, you literally have people who service other people for a living, and you can't tell these people not to. Like, I seen a video, it was like a bunch of area boys raiding around, like trying to get into Lekki, and I was like, damn. It's really that bad. Like,
yeah, when shit gets,
people get desperate.
People get desperate. Like all these zombie movies we be seeing. This
it's real.
I watch The Walking Dead every week. I went straight to the gun store and got some more bullets just in case. because Charles County, although I call it the new PG because a lot of young Black professionals and military live out here, so they're kind of the dominant force in driving society. But all the white people out here are very rural and poor and working class, and don't think for a second that they ain't gonna be the main ones marching and protesting when things start getting thick. You know what I mean? People better be aware. I'm not even saying like all white people are like that, but there is a constant divide, and every metropolitan community that, you know, the working class and blue collar, especially, you know, white folks compared to black folks, they got a chip on their shoulders. And as long as Trump putting the battery in their back to start liberating themselves and all this other BS that he be saying, people don't get caught slipping.
Yeah, you know what's so crazy about what you just said? I listened to a podcast maybe like 2-3 years ago about the NRA, and it always stuck with me because he started off by, you know, saying that it's going to come a point in time where, you know what I'm saying, the government is going to like really, you know, everybody, like the reason why they're getting these like automatic rifles and all of that is because, you know, they're going to, because the government's going to do something crazy one time and we just going to have to rebel. And honestly, just based off this conversation, this is probably something that probably may happen. And now
listening to this conversation right now.
It makes sense back then.
I mean, nobody's really wrong. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their, you know, their vantage point of how they're going to deal with this crisis. You know, some people feel as if they need to take arms and protect themselves or go out and march and take what's theirs. Other people feel as if they got to listen. But at the end of the day, you got to govern yourself accordingly and do the best for you and your family. And sometimes being about action is that.
Yeah.
Let's just print excess money so nobody will start shooting each other, please.
And then the value of money goes down.
I don't care, but we will be alive.
They print more, the value goes down, bro.
No. But will you be alive?
Then we got to deal with the Zimbabwe dollars and shit.
The stimulus stuff is printing money. They're giving you free money, bro.
It's not enough. It's not
right.
It's not enough.
So I wanted to tell. Well, one of the reasons why we got both you guys on here, you know, Robin and Sam. You know, you guys are very intellectual brothers. Y'all like to turn up too. So this is a great conversation for all of us, and you know, and we all have some knowledge of certain things that's going on in this economy, like we've been talking about this whole time. But Sam was underneath the Bernie Sanders campaign. That's why we can no longer afford him, right? So, Sam, I know this is like a
kudos to you, Sam, because I wanted Bernie in there badly.
Oh man, I'm glad. I was just safe to say everybody on this podcast is a Bernie supporter.
Man,
he definitely. I ain't gonna hold you. He definitely lost me when he said a couple of years ago when he was trying to say that reparations is divisive. But I think that, you know, he birthed the liberal movement, and if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be nowhere remotely near where we are in people getting involved in the government process, understanding. People don't even know who their local government officials are, but because of his platform, how vocal he is, and how he's trying to break the machine, he's birthed a whole new generation. So we are forever indebted to Uncle Bernie, is what I call him.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I was Yang Gang. I wanted that $100.
You mean 1,000? 1,000 every month.
That $1,000 a month.
Full disclosure, like I was also a fan of that. Like,
I was Team Yang. I got to move locations because this is my internet spotty. I done cut out a couple times.
I don't know what. Yeah.
And as a brother who works in automation, I see what he's talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think like there's in a perfect world, like there's somebody like Andrew Yang in somebody's cabinet, right? Somebody who's thinking about how technology will impact the future of things. But it needs to be guided by somebody like that. Someone who's driven by what is morally right and just in this country. And I will rely on that person to make good decisions on like who, because you got to think about it. It's not just, that was our campaign slogan, not me, us. Like he said, it's not about me, it's about everyone around me. So you got to think about when somebody enters office, who they're going to surround themselves with, right? And you know, being part of the campaign and even working before he launched, and this time around, I was working at an organization that launched out of his 2016 campaign because I wasn't necessarily like a politically active person, but you know, I was doing freelancing for a bit, you know, did y'all stuff, and I was kind of like, I want to do something that like, you know, is morally aligned with, you know, my ideals and stuff, you know. I didn't want to just do, you know.
Hey Rob,
I'm with you, bro.
Don't
Yo,
even
my
worry
bad,
about
yo.
it. Don't even worry about it, bro. Don't even worry about it.
It was causing some ambient noise, right at like the height of.
My bad. I should have muted. My fault.
You good.
And plus, now it's too bright, so we can't even really see your face that well.
Man, you could. I didn't think you could see me from before. That's why another reason why I moved.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you good, bro?
You look good,
Hey.
baby.
How you doing?
Baby,
Go
talk back.
downstairs and eat. Close the door.
The
please.
twins.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Or the triplets.
Yeah, that was one of the twins. Not a triplet sleeping.
Y'all, do you see the way
The triplets are girls.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Man, you got a family.
Yeah, man.
it's like family.
Damn. Like I be.
I got 3 boys, 3 girls.
Melanated Tober.
That's a blessing, man. I talk to my lady now, and I'm like, "Hey, how many you want?" And she like, "I'm stopping at 3." And I'm like,
Me too.
I can't even imagine 6,
Maybe
man.
2.
All power to you.
I only wanted 2. So I got extra.
God tripled your. God tripled it for you.
He tripled your estate.
You too potent out here, bro.
He tripled your blessing.
I'm clearly I'm Steph Curry with it, I guess.
Cromartie, right?
Philip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers.
Fill up a country bumpkin, bro.
Hey, Sam, I'm not even gonna lie to you, man.
Uh-huh.
For how many years I've been fighting my family, I'm the only one in my entire family that feels the pain.
Yeah, it's tough.
I need you to come do a presentation for my African parents, because these
Yeah.
people, all they know is Hilary, and now it's Joe Biden.
Hilary.
I'm like, bro.
I mean that by extension, that was the black population, even black Americans, not even just immigrants. And it's like if you look at Bernie's platforms, right? If you read it and you say, "Do you agree with this?" 9 times out of 10, most people, unless you're just a wicked person, you'd be like, "Yeah, why not? Why not guarantee healthcare to everybody?" Right? Like this moment that we're in, this coronavirus moment, is just proof that we need those
Universal
very liberal
healthcare.
policies. Like, imagine if we had universal healthcare, right, prior to all of this happening, right? People wouldn't be afraid to go to the doctors because they're not afraid of a bill. They will already have those relationships with their primary healthcare physicians. They're like, I'm not feeling good. Just down a third. If we had a $15 minimum wage, right, these workers will feel like secured and have more money in their pockets, and they will feel like they have a dignity in what they're doing with their lives, you know? Like if we actually invested in education, if we actually had abolished a student loan debt, like people will be like abolishing student loan debt, right? You want to talk about stimulating the economy? How many people will be doing so much more if they had to deal with like those monthly student loans, right? People will be buying more houses. People will be buying more cars.
My joint went up to like $600-700 a month because I got a grad degree, bruh.
I would have a master's degree by now if they abolish that.
Yo,
Yeah,
I just put it on lock. I was like, I'm not paying you.
Yeah, like
you're right.
we're talking about earlier how like, oh, all these big industries get bailed out, you know, like we need to bail out like everybody else. Like that is going to stimulate the economy. Like when people are struggling, they're just going to buy stuff. They're going to invest in themselves. They're going to like live better lives, you know? Yeah. So I was really happy to join the campaign, man. I came out of it working for his nonprofit that came out of the 2016 campaign called Our Revolution. And what we were doing in that group was we were focused on the down ballot candidates, right? These progressive, these people who were similar to Bernie Sanders in the terms of the policies that they wanted to push in their local municipal offices, whether it's like school board, whether it's city council, whether it's the alderman, what have you. Like if you're progressive, we wanted to invest and organize around those people to get them elected across the nation. So when he announced our president of our organization, Nina Turner, she's dope. If you haven't heard of her, Nina Turner, she is one of the most
She's very
fierce.
Nina Turner, fiery, man. I love seeing her on TV.
She's amazing. She was on the Breakfast Club like 2 days ago.
She also sounds like she about to slump you any moment too. How you got the audacity? I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
he about to turn it up.
I gotta go watch that interview.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Nina Turner, she been on Breakfast Club like 4 times.
Yeah, she's been on Breakfast Club. I've seen her. She's very fiery. Fiery is a very, very great description.
Yeah. and she's about it. She's
Yeah.
like, as
I only go
from,
to the Breakfast Club for the ratchet stuff.
sometimes they have like political and woke stuff. But yeah, as Killer Mike would liken her to, she's like the modern day Shirley Chisholm, and she's just
that's
like,
fair. I like that. That's a nice
she's
comparison.
like she's a force. Like I was just on a call with her this morning. She looks out for her people. So she was the president of our revolution. She was a surrogate for Bernie Sanders in 2016. And for those listeners who are not sure what a surrogate is, it's someone who speaks on behalf of the campaign in the event that, or not in the event, but just speaks on the behalf of the campaign to represent the campaign. So she campaigned. She was one of the first people to kind of leave Team Hillary to join Team before it was cool, and she took a lot of heat from that because
I recall.
She took a lot of heat from that, and people were very nasty to her on that side of the things. But she's somebody who doesn't care about like how it makes her look in terms of her career, how she gained in her career. She's driven by her moral convictions, and that's why I have the utmost respect for her. But when Bernie announced, she said, all right, I'm going to join the campaign, but I want to have my people from our revolution be able to join. But subsequently, I was having a conversation with somebody I knew who was also, who worked in Bernie in the Senate office, and he approached me about joining to be one of the video producers. So I was like, sure, I'll join. Either way, I got two options to join. So yeah, I joined and been spending the last year using my creativity to kind of like tell the stories of what's going on with everyday working class people in America. And I specifically wanted to bring the perspective of what's going on with Black America. And I made it an effort to make that be clear whenever we had brainstorms, like how is this going to affect Black people? Can we go to this Black area? What if we do this? And, always try to maintain. So that's what I wanted to offer to that campaign, because if you're focused on quote unquote the least of these, everybody will be okay. And we all know living in this country that the way people of color, the darker you are, how we are afflicted in this world, like it deserves a microscope so people can see. So I've been I played a few different roles inside this media producer capacity. We were known for doing a lot of live streams. So every event, and we did hundreds of events across the country. We did an in-house live stream production. Sometimes I go out on the road and, make sure the cameras were set up properly and record it. So it's broadcasted through all Bernie's social media channels. Sometimes I'll put on a video journalist hat where I will source a story, or a story will come my way, and I go interview people myself, ask them questions. One that's coming to mind in North Carolina, in Durham, North Carolina, there's a public housing community, McDougal Housing Terrace, rather. They had a very bad carbon monoxide leak, and they had to evacuate over 150 residents, and they had to like live in hotels and kind of like inhuman conditions. So there's a local leader among the tenants. Her name is Ashley Kennedy. I went out there to interview her, and just to be in that community, see how it's like a ghost town, and see how like, government isn't investing money into these public housings like they should. And this is an area where it's like Black people live. And when we talk about, what's going on around us and how social distancing is a privilege, when you're like living in inhumane conditions, you don't want to remain there. So when we think about how this is affecting like Black communities, we think about things like that. So I was fortunate enough to go out there, interview some of the tenants there, and like produce a video for that and like share that on Bernie's platform. And that's just because there's someone like me who's saying, I want to do something that's focused on the community I'm a part of, and Black people. So yeah, it was a great experience, just doing videos. I did some voiceover work for some ads. Apparently I have a good enough voice to do that.
Hey, there's money in that out here, at least in LA. There's money. There's money in voiceover work.
I need to move, man, because
pre-summers
tough out here.
You
but
do
yeah,
voiceover
man.
for video games and all that stuff too.
Yeah. I'm trying to collect as many bags as possible right now. But yeah, the campaign, Bernie suspended his campaign. Was it last week now? So we formally.
Yeah, that one hurt.
Yeah, it did. You know, people wanted him to stay, but it's like, it's weird because the whole coronavirus thing, like we were already quarantined and working from home. So we couldn't do what we would normally do. Like I couldn't, the team, we couldn't produce videos like we would normally do. We couldn't organize people to get out and vote. We couldn't do none of that stuff. So we were already at that point behind Biden by a lot of points, and he had more delegates than we had. But, it's different. It kind of makes you wonder how things would have been different if we weren't dealing with the coronavirus at this time.
I'm gonna say this. Bernie started out strong, man.
He did.
He started out real strong. I know I used to be in the crib. I used to my parents used to hate me because I would give it to them, and then be like, wait for Super Tuesday. And then that one Tuesday when like a lot of the other people that were running, when they started dropping off and all of them started endorsing Biden, that's when the tide switched.
Oh, that was purposefully done.
It made
it felt like it.
And I told my peoples, I'm like, yeah, happy about this? Like this man needed, I'm not gonna say that because we all want now. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because Uncle Bern has told us to endorse, so I'm with it. We all won.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying at the time how I felt was y'all only got this momentum because everybody else now started telling their people, just like now how we now behind Biden, because Uncle Bernie has told us, let's do this. And we don't want another Trump presidency.
Yeah.
But that's really how I felt. Because I'm like, yo, Bern had this stuff on lock until all these other folks started telling their people, and that's when things turned.
Absolutely.
And I mean, from what I heard, I thought they said like Bernie and Biden were friends anyway. They were like close friends in some regards.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't speak on their relationship. I can only speak on what Senator Sanders has gone on record to say. But from the beginning, he has always said that if he's not the nominee, he will support whoever the nominee
Any
is.
Democratic nominee, he said it on stage.
He said that.
Sam, I know
he said that in multiple debates.
You talking super political but professional right now.
That's media training. He definitely media trained.
I love it.
This is like very thorough. Like
he got the microphone, the headphones on. He came with it today.
Spaces in between your sentences, and it was
flowing with CNN right now, bro.
Coming live.
This is a real
I mean,
right now.
It was a year in trial by fire, like a year that I couldn't say the stuff I wanted to say because our comms director is saying, don't tweet that, don't tweet that, don't tweet that. So we had to run a tight ship. But Senator Sanders has always gone on record to say that he is going to support whoever the Democratic nominee is. He and Joe Biden have always been like colleagues, and they always had like good discourse. They had respect for each other, especially because Bernie Sanders, he did a lot of work for the universal health care that the Obama administration passed, Obamacare. He did a lot of provisions right there in that bill. So they have like working relationships. So there's always going to be a lot of respect. That being said, from the jump, there's always been like a Stop Bernie Sanders campaign from within the Democratic Party.
Because he ain't one of us.
Yeah, because he's not one. You got to think about this, right? Bernie Sanders has always ran a campaign where he is not accepting any donations from major corporations or billionaires, right? So what does that mean, right? When you have every candidate, right, taking money from big corporations and ultra wealthy and special interest groups, what does that say? That is influence, right? Right.
Your game, man.
That is influence.
That's Bloomberg.
Skin in the game.
Oh, don't let me get started on Bloomberg. Because I'm over here waiting on like a stimulus check to hit my account, and he spent $900 million of his play money to run a 3-month campaign. You know how much how much he could literally give everybody in America like a cool $1 million right now and not even be hurting.
Yep.
Like there's 350 million people in America.
That's crazy.
And you spent 900 M's in 3 months
on like ads. Foolishness.
He never had a chance. But why did he run? To stop Bernie Sanders. That was his MO. So
they Voltron against Bernie, man. It hurt my feelings. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, like the DNC as a whole, they're not about that kind of radical change, man. Bernie been talking about the same thing for like 35 years. You can go look at all them C-SPAN videos when his hair was more blonde. He said the same thing. And come now, go ahead.
And I could tell you from like producing the videos, like we literally had an archive, right, on that we used of every single Bernie Sanders appearance, like back to when he was a mayor in Burlington, Vermont. Like, so we could, all the stuff that people will never see, I got to see that stuff and be like, yo, this man has really been consistent, right? 1988, year I was born. He went out on a limb to endorse Jesse Jackson, the first Black man to run for president, right? I did a paper on Jesse Jackson in elementary school, the Rainbow Coalition, the Push Initiative, like to see that he was when he was like, I'm going to do that, I'm going to endorse Jesse Jackson, despite what my colleagues say. I'm like, in that picture that we always see of him getting arrested for protesting housing discrimination in Chicago, right? He did not know that picture existed until 2016. He had no idea. So it's like when they tell you
the college stuff.
Yeah, the college stuff when he was organizing. Yeah, like when they say, "Show me," somebody will tell you who they are when nobody's looking, right? Like that's who we. That was our bad bitch. He was supposed to be our bad bitch in this office right now. But like to your point though about reparations, right? Like that's every Black person on the campaign, right? I could comfortably speak on behalf of them. But we've always felt that Bernie could have done a lot better in terms of when he's speaking about Black issues. But that's just semantics, right? That's just communication. That's one of the biggest things that I've learned is how somebody could mean well, but just because they say something in the wrong way, people will completely run with it and say, I never distrusted Bernie's intent for Black people in the Black community, right? That's I just fair. Think he needed to kind of like be educated more. And that's one thing I respect about his willingness. Everything we've done related to Black people, like whether it's our town halls, he's always like given the mic to the Black people to speak on the issues, and he always listened, right? And that's something I can always appreciate it. Could he have done better? Hell yeah. Like I've always felt like he could have done better, especially on the reparations.
I mean, he's a middle-aged white man. His learning curve is big, but for him to be that, proactive and wanting to hear and understand, and then repeat and inform the masses on what he just learned and understand, man, he one of a kind. I'm really hurting right now, and especially because Biden is, he represents the status quo in democracy. I mean, for the Democratic Party, as far as somebody that's not rocking the boat. Somebody that's just going to go along and with the get along and do what, keeps both sides happy in order to not get anything done. And nothing's going to happen if he were to win presidency. I mean, in my opinion, but, at the end of the day, you can't undermine his connection to one that as a vice president compared to how Trump is running this country to the ground.
Can I ask everybody this? This is it's somewhat related, but a little bit random still. Do you think Africans, do we deserve reparations?
I mean, I already know we're not getting it.
That's
no. I'm not talking about if we getting it or not.
No. Why don't I?
I'm not getting it. I'm okay with not getting it.
Y'all have something to say.
Why don't I deserve reparation?
So you talk about I have a literal like I have a book right here, scholarly written book called "How Europe Underdeveloped Africa." Why we couldn't have an industrial revolution because the same systems coming from the Western world stunted us by exporting people, exporting resources, all that. So like
what's the name of that book? I'm about to get that joint right now.
I can grab it and put it in the chat.
Go and grab the book.
I will grab the book, but Yeah, for sure. But just a quick aside, I do want everybody else to chime in on that. But I personally, and I know my views sometimes I don't even share them on this part like that, can be blacker than black. You feel me? But what I would say.
When's the last time you touched a cotton ball, y'all?
Hey, bro, I'm gonna say I have a lot of respect for Bernie in general, because I like, if you know, like what y'all saying, like politics is a very tricky game.
It's a dirty game.
It's a dirty game. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you got to communicate in a certain way just to meet the minimum criteria to play in the sandbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're dissecting how people like directly respond to black issues and stuff, nobody is really doing that, or if you won't even be in a room, including Barack Obama. You understand what I'm saying? Or you can read between the lines and see and understand where someone's coming from. Semantics is one thing; how you truly feel and your actions can be another. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you go back and really look at even Barack Obama stuff, come on, man. Like he won't address certain things head on, because that's how politics are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Not always, but
Roberto, speak your mind.
to the standard.
Only reason I'm saying yes and no, because at the end of the day, you're a man, and you can, or woman, you can say what the hell you want, and you can say whatever the hell you want. Just white people like to say, why can't I say the N-word? You can say it. Just be ready for the heat that's gonna come with it.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? I'm just talking about in general. So like when with that being said, look how Trump is running the White House. He don't give a fuck.
You
know what I'm
don't.
saying? You know what I mean? But who's challenging it though? Who's pushing back? Obama was in the office. If he wanted to, he could have. He didn't. I understand why, but you can't say that he didn't have the opportunity to lift his voice and say things. He didn't do it because he didn't like how it would look. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, and you know, we all criticize. Other presidents. I was very critical of Obama, although I love him to death. You know, I mean, but you know, I got to keep a spade a spade. If anything, you know, we can learn from Trump's presidency is if you in that office, you better run the table the best way you can. And if you can do it in a manner that it's going to benefit more people, do it that way. And unfortunately, him being the first black person to win and be in that office, I mean, the spotlight was on him. He couldn't even fart too loud. Somebody was going to write up a bad, article about that.
He couldn't even wear a tan suit.
You know what I'm saying? So, but because of that fear of not being able to say, speak, or do anything remotely symbolizing that is going to be for black people, he didn't. But, you know, he was able to successfully do things for other groups. So that people are always going to poke at him for that. But, you know, but at the end of the day, I mean, that's politics is what it is. You just can't be afraid. You got to be able to take the backlash, and everybody's not built for the backlash, unfortunately.
I would say I feel like as people who were born in Africa and came here, migrated here, or our parents were born in Africa, like some of y'all, because I was born on the soil, but like some of y'all is y'all parents, but you know, I feel like we all deserve, because we all black, baby, and we all go through the same things, and we all deal with the same systemic struggles and issues, whether I was born in Nigeria or you was born in Southeast. You feel you figure deal me? So plus, you don't know if one of my uncles was separated, one of my great uncles was separated from my great granddaddy, and that impacted my family. That could have been PTSD. Just for what white people have done on this face of the earth, we all deserve this reparations, my brother. If you're a citizen and that you are accounted for, and on your census you check black or not Hispanic,
black or African American.
Exactly. Yeah. Run me my money.
I mean, I'm with you on that. If I weren't to get it, I understand why, and I'm not hurting by that. I'd let it go to the other black American people who've been here longer and have dealt with things for more centuries than we have. I'm not mad.
They need to run a check.
And I fight for them too.
Africa needs a big ass check from
Exactly.
the whole world.
From United
Yeah.
Nations.
And they can't give it to those in charge. They got to really give it to the people.
Yes, Africa needs a revolution on its own, man.
Mm-hmm.
I seen what they doing to us in China. How they
Yeah,
treat
that's
us.
bad.
We
Yeah,
talked
man.
about that last.
It's
I don't
ridiculous.
I don't want to stain you, brother Sam, but these type of things been making me get volatile. And
I hear you, man.
I don't want to stain you because I know you got a career. And you got places to go, brother, but them Chinese, fuck them.
I ain't gonna say all that. I'm just gonna say everybody hold your own nuts. I'm gonna say everybody hold their own nuts. I'm sorry that they're going through any kind of persecution here when Trump was like it's the Chinese virus and all of that. But at the end of the day,
I ain't sorry.
The views expressed by Femi is not one that
my views don't got nothing to do with all these.
I still eat General Tso's chicken.
Put on that.
I would not. I would not.
Oh, man. Let me just back away from this mic.
When this Rona over, I'm telling God, don't go to no carrier.
I like General Tso's too. I'm in there, but I can't blame the people that are here for what's going on from the leader in a whole nother country. You feel me?
Yeah.
The same way you can't get hemmed up for what's happening in Nigeria right now, or what's happening in Ghana, or what's happening in Liberia, because all our leaders are, on some other stuff.
But guess what? That's the only way they're gonna feel the type of vitriol and the venom that they out here spreading is when we give it back to them. All right, because we done dealing with China like. They started this whole damn virus. Now guess what? Damn near 38,000 people done died. 38,000 innocent people.
I can't say they started. I don't know that.
I'm telling brother Robert, and my views don't got nothing to do with all y'all. Okay,
brother Malcolm is speaking.
These damn goddamn Chinese, they out here just eating bats and eating raccoons and shit.
I gotta say again, the views of Femi do not.
Nah, bro.
Any of us, but
somebody gotta hold these people accountable, bro. They out of pocket.
I want to get back to the reparations thing. Like, I think that this is the very
you gotta chill, yo.
The reparations question is very, very layered. Like, especially
it is
because like that's also a question on what is defined as Blackness in the Black experience, right? And I think like that's something that we're still exploring. Like they are very we have African parents, we have aunties and uncles that would say some things that are akin to people who listen to Fox News about Black Americans, straight up. Like our folks be saying something.
The average African auntie and uncle is the most right-wing conservative, but they just say Democrat because they've been here and that's all they know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, and Black Americans, they're very privy to this, So it's like, if I personally do not feel entitled to reparations because I know my ancestors are in Nigeria, straight up. So I think there should be some type of litmus test to qualify for reparations that's based on that. Because I just think our experiences are different. And I know modern times we deal with the same afflictions for being Black, but I just think it's a little bit different. And I think our definition of Blackness needs to be further defined, but also one that celebrates the differences rather than, bridges.
I mean, but they're making this whole thing a damn Harvard study on how it's going to happen, and to me, it's not that complicated, man. Definitely some type of litmus test, because you don't want what they used to call the $5 Indians for people who are qualifying to be Indians to get on the Indian rolls, to get land. Right. Grants or whatnot that were white people way back when. You don't want that type of disrespect to happen, to Black Americans on this soil. However, something as simple as no taxes, something as simple as free college to all those could be considered reparations, and they're acting like everybody just wants a check and they're lazy for wanting any type of reparations. Meanwhile, people done got 1,000-year head start. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
I mean, we just celebrated the year of returner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if anything else, that demonstrated clearly to me like the link in the bond between Native Africans and African Americans, and the fact that we all suffer from the slave trade. Like the physical, like we talk about psychological slavery, the trauma, PTSD, all that type of stuff. I mean, there's even books on that. You know what I mean? There's post-traumatic slave syndrome. There's an actual book on it, and it's like very scholarly written. You know what I mean? But if you're looking at physical evidence of slavery, the pain of slavery, it's slave castles still in West Africa with cannons pointing towards the ocean. So I mean, I find it difficult to say that like we all haven't suffered. Like I totally understand what you're saying, Sam. I think that like you really look at it holistically. I mean, you can't put a limitations on the suffering.
I feel you. Like I'm not saying that
suffering is
Africans
passed down generation.
Yeah, I'm not saying Africans haven't suffered. Even us, by being here, we are suffering tangentially through the American experience. Exactly.
We went to oh my God.
Right. Honestly, like if I'm gonna call a spade, I identify more as an American than my Nigerian roots, just because I've been raised here. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't raised in Nigeria. Right. So it's like sometimes I forget that I'm not like black, like American.
I mean,
yeah, but it's like
go lay down the law.
But the stuff we deal with, right, as Africans, that's it's deeper. Like it's deeper. Like there's trauma in that alone, and we're still being gutted right now. But it's just to show that like our experiences are universal, because even people in Europe and other countries across the world, their blackness is being afflicted in some kind of way that's different from the Americans and the Africans on the continent. So I think there's a universal struggle, of course, but but when it comes to reparations in America, I just think like Black Americans should be the one to determine what that is.
I wanted to actually ask you.
I just want to share the book though. I did find the book.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please.
I just want to share it on the screen. So
screen share. Sharing his screen.
Technology on us.
Is it working?
Yeah, it's working. Let me take a
I can see your xvideos.com.
This guy.
Come on. I got Instacart, our SoundCloud.
My man,
Europe,
Google
undeveloped.
Yeah, send me that. You got this on PDF?
I can copy the joint. How Europe Undeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney, and you see like how striking the imagery is. You know what I mean? And the focus of the book,
they're ripping it apart.
It talks about why Africa missed an industrial revolution, train infrastructure, movement of stuff from North Africa to South to East to West. Like
a lot of countries didn't miss the industrial revolution quite as kept.
Damn, this shit $31.
Civil war was just incited to destroy the infrastructure of these countries, so that they had to start from scratch.
Sam said it's $71.
No, $31.
They always 31. Good information. They're gonna make it costly.
Man. Exactly.
You ever seen the movie Panther?
They take it out of print, bro.
Nah.
I seen it before.
There was a movie Panther with Kadeem Hardison, and it was all about COINTELPRO. That DVD used to cost like $150.
Damn.
Yes, Mario Van Peebles did that joint. That joint was like
New Jack City.
Right.
Get out of here, bro.
That joint was $150 just because they didn't want that kind of information out there, man. The good information, they're gonna make it cost more.
Let me say something. Don't Indian folks, they don't pay, and don't quote me. This may be ignorant. They don't pay taxes, right?
If they're considered sovereign, if they belong
Native Americans.
Yeah,
Native Americans. They live on reservations, but
yes, if they belong to a certain Native American infrastructure or whatever, they can align themselves with it and they're considered sovereign. Yes.
But why haven't they done it for the ancestors of my people? Why haven't they done it for my people, man?
You know the answer to that question.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and y'all saying, nah, this is ridiculousness, man.
Every marginalized group in the history of this country has received reparations except for Black people.
We talking about my peoples, yo.
This is very true.
Jewish people got the bag.
Yes,
Native American people got the bag. Japanese people here got the bag.
Americans pay people they don't even do anything to, but they went through struggle.
And Frank and them,
and we don't get nothing.
Look at Anne Frank and them people.
Say Anne Frank and the people. Go ahead.
You know, what, all I'm saying is, what about Kunta Kinte's people, man?
Facts.
When they gonna make it right?
You're not wrong at all, man.
You're not wrong, man.
You're not wrong.
Sam, I wanted to really
represent Yawizi.
Quick, trying to bring it back.
I'm trying to bring it. Yeah, thank you. So Sam, I did want to actually like run this by you as someone who pretty much was on a political campaign twice.
Yeah.
How do you view politics now?
Well, I got technically once. I was just a part of the nonprofit prior to 2016. How do I view politics now? Well, I understand it. I do think we need a third party because Republican and Dem situation ain't what it is. It's really just Republican and diet Republicans. Call a spade a spade.
Diet's cool.
That's real, bro. That's real.
Because honestly, if anybody's taking money from big corporate and special interest groups, you're not for the interests of the common man in America. So we need a party that is completely dedicated to the everyday human, and something that's focused on like labor movements and environmental justice. Not a lot of black people don't think environmental justice is a black issue. It's not just these little white kids out in the streets saying that they're trying to save the planet. It affects us. Flint not having clean water to this day is an environmental issue. So we got to think about things like that. But how I'm jaded, honestly, like seeing how stuff went down, knowing that, you know, people could just make phone calls and coalesce around one candidate, whereas like you clearly see that this candidate is struggling, having a cognitive decline on national television, and this is who you want to put against Trump. The troll in chief, right? This is who we coalescing around, honestly, right? And you have somebody like Bernie Sanders who's fighting for every goddamn person. Like,
you start losing faith in the process.
You lose faith in the process, and it's like this is what they want. Which is why I think we need a third party. Like all other developed nations have 3-party systems. Canada has more than
Nigeria
4
got
parties,
like
I believe.
70-something.
Yeah, we need.
I mean, we technically have more than 2 parties, but they just aren't recognized.
Yeah,
like you can't even vote. Like if you're independent or green, you can't even vote in primaries. Like I switch from independent to Democrat every major election cycle just so that I can vote in primaries, and then I switch back.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on that. I'm not a citizen. I just filed for my citizenship this year, so I was hoping to cast my first vote for Uncle Bernie, but that's not going to be the dream right now.
Write his name in anyway.
I'm still going to write his name in. But yeah, my views on politics, they've changed. I know more about it now. Again, before being active in this world, I wasn't really politically active. I was like, I loved Barack Obama, and then realized that I didn't need to love him as much as I did when I, took a look under the hood. How he handled it.
Yeah. That's most of us.
Yeah, how he handled the situation in Flint with the water wasn't great. How the drone strikes aren't great, not good at all.
For me, foreign policy,
right?
Like when he was running for office, he was really harping on that. He went and met with so many African leaders, international leaders, and all that. And the same international strikes, international covert wars, all that stuff was still going on. It was so shocking.
Yep. Anyway. And immigration is an issue for our people too. He deported more people than Bush. So it's like, I love everything he represented. The fact that we can do it, but we can do a lot better than
Listen,
Barack, so.
Under Barack, that military investment did not go down.
It did not.
You understand? It's such
we ain't even talk about Benghazi, man.
Right.
I love Obama, man, but damn, he fucked up. He fucked up a lot of stuff.
Egypt, Libya, it's so much.
Syria, man, it's God.
Can I do breaking news? With these people, can I do breaking news?
Oh, what happened
during those times? Go ahead.
Tell me about to go on his.
I did not vote for Obama in 2012.
Hey,
I did not vote.
Quarantine.
I thought something happened. He said breaking news. I thought something really happened.
I wouldn't check CNN so fast.
I'm just saying. Oh nah, nah. I'm just saying, like,
nigga, that's a personal thing.
nah, cause we all, everybody is talking about damn Barack missed, and I'm like, yeah, I felt like that after his first term.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel you, feel me.
I felt like
I worked
that.
at a civil rights agency in DC for 2 years, and I can honestly say that things that came across my desk, I can't say Obama ain't tried, but he definitely could have tried much harder.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot that it's like you the first, man. There's gonna be a lot of everybody was looking for you to like.
But I
just. Mm-hmm.
I'll say that's probably the one benefit of Trump right now is we can have another president that comes in and kind of speak his mind freely a little bit more now because of the stand that Trump's already set.
I don't think so. I really don't think so.
You see Biden, but look at Bernie. Bernie was speaking like, shouting at everybody.
Bernie been saying the same damn thing for 30 years though. That's
exactly
different.
That's just Bernie.
But the
different.
delivery, you see,
and they didn't let him in.
Biden now also kind of like,
Biden is him.
And Biden be about to fall asleep in the middle of saying something.
Yeah.
You ain't see the one time he told a reporter like, nah, like
Biden is
not gonna answer the question. Bye.
Even my dad, as much as he's like Joe Biden, even him, he's like Biden. He doesn't know how to do debates or campaign.
He cannot.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, this dude in all them debates, he don't even be like top 3.
He be forgetting.
I think he went people over with.
That's dementia.
Early
onset dementia.
You know what I'm saying? Like, his presence, like he's like he makes himself inviting. So I think that's
he's not even talking about his sexual assault allegation right now.
He has no stage.
They're barely talking about that.
It's another story.
I think it's a trap.
It's gonna come back. It's gonna come back around.
Oh yeah, because Trump, they
Trump
the one thing, Trump and his team, they are like savants with content.
Yeah,
like,
they are.
They will produce the fuck out of shit just to like tear you down. And
but that's the thing.
Gives them so much ammunition to do that.
But Trump and them he has his sexual assaults too.
But that's the thing. He owns it. He doesn't care.
So here's
the Republicans are morally corrupt. So it shouldn't matter for them. But the Democrats are supposed to be better.
All of them got it. That's a norm. The Supreme Justice.
You try to play high holy so much.
They're a norm. That's a norm for them, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, like you said, they try to act like they're morally just. So that's why it reflects harder on them. Yeah. But I mean, like, the thing is that what people feel, I think I said this on pod before, but years ago, I think when Trump first came up as a candidate, I was watching this like video blog and dude was breaking it down. He was like, what people forget is Trump is a reality TV star, right?
Yeah.
About reality TV is that, like, people understand cognitively that, like, people are usually on board with someone that has clear messaging. Unfortunately, whether it's positive or negative, you understand what I'm saying? If I can read where you stand on the issues, like you're not a fence rider, you're not timid, you're not in between, people find it easier to get on board with you. You know? So Trump's thing, even though it's outrageous, even though it's whatever, like he has a way with his messaging and his self-brand that he stands for this. It can be repulsive to a lot of people, but because of that clarity, that's why, and the dude predicted that's why he would probably beat Hillary, because Hillary is not like that. You feel like Hillary should feel this way, but she goes on TV and you're like, I don't quite know. It's
hot sauce in her bag.
You understand what I'm saying? So, like, because of that, people that are like on the fence.
I hate her.
Reality TV age.
So frustrated.
I mean, look at this is a very wild example, but look at it. Even a show like Love Is Blind. And quick, I'm not trying to take us off course, but we find the couples.
I will never watch that show. So,
and you shouldn't. But what I'm saying is,
I watch that nonsense.
For people that have seen it, like the couple Lauren or whatever, they're like hopelessly in love. This couple
Lauren on camera.
They're the toxic couple. This couple right here is whatever. The couples that weren't representing that stuff, they were boring. You didn't even pay attention to them. You understand what I'm saying? It's a reality TV age. It's such a powerful cognitive thing. And Trump has been a reality TV star for a while. He exploits that. That's how you get the public on your side.
Well, you got to realize, Trump is society. Like, he represents so many people. Like, kind of like how I look at sports. When like you hear Michael Irvin and them they'll bring in someone that has a past, like, oh, this dude got off the field issues. And like, you can't win with all choir boys. You know what I'm saying? People like Michael Irvin and them doing cocaine and whatever. You got to realize this world is full of Donald Trumps. It's just that they don't have the socioeconomic status or like the platform that he does. But they doing it on whatever level they on, whether they in trailer parks. You guys seen Tiger King? You know what I'm saying? These people, they trash on all levels. It's not just government. So when those lower level trash now see someone in the White House that's that's speaking their language, of course they're gonna vote for him. And then you got someone like Joe Biden that's like that's trying to be like a pastor, and then a sexual scandal come out. It looks worse on them because their own MO is I'm good, I'm moral, and then once you break down their MO, it becomes a facade. But Donald Trump
Biden already said
wears.
What's it called?
Trump wears this thing. We all know.
But Biden
Trump.
he did come out and say that that was a different time. Back then the things you could do was differently than how it is now.
That's still not his MO though. You know what I'm saying? That's still not like what he represents. He represents this grandpa, this good man. Donald Trump is this you know what I'm saying? Let's grab him by the pussy or whatever he said. That's your president, and guess what?
Well, that ain't my president.
Hey, he in the White House right now. But I'm saying it's a
my
lot of
even worse.
He signed that stimulus check.
Buhari. Good luck, Jonathan.
Buhari, you know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, a lot of them people, they like, yo, this dude sound like me. I'm a vote for him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I kind of want to.
Biden's gonna have the same problem, like what you're saying. That clarity of messaging, whatever. That stance on.
He can. Biden has no clarity. He was like, "I'm Joe Biden, and I forgot this message." That's his platform. That's his platform.
His saving grace, I will say, Biden's saving grace might be this coronavirus thing. If people see how bad Trump is handling it,
that is his saving grace. Like, we don't want to go through this no more.
That just makes it more painful that Bernie lost because are y'all familiar with the social determinants of health?
Go ahead, break it down for us.
That's basically like, well, let me start by saying Bernie is known for his healthcare platform, right? Mm-hmm. And the social determinants of health is several elements that we interact with, whether it's like the economy, our education, our community, and our healthcare, and our neighborhoods and stuff like that. Like these pillars, right, determine our life expectancy, right? So someone who lives in a certain zip code that has better schools, readily available hospitals, police, they live 20 years more than somebody who lives in the hood, right? Mm-hmm. So these are the social determinants of health. Mm-hmm. What's going on right now with the coronavirus? It's exacerbating those social determinants of health on both ends. We are seeing wealthy people being able to, when it comes to the economy, they're not going to be on the front lines. They're not the essential workers. Why? Because they can work from home, right? They have education, so they have higher degrees and things like that. So they're going to tend to have more money. They're in areas where they had opportunities, so they're not going to go into crime and things like that. So they're not going to be in jail. They're going to have access to healthcare because they have jobs or they have like wealth, right? They have good, clean neighborhoods. Their neighborhoods aren't by a highway where smoke and fog is coming in, polluting your area, or big corporations aren't dumping pollution in your areas. So those people in that zip code are going to live longer lives. Whereas you got people
to one small grocery store.
Right. So like when I say social distancing is a privilege, it really is, because when you have people who live in public housing or who live in like these high-rise apartments that they can only afford because it's $600 a month, that they're always going to be in close quarters, right? Because they live in that zip code where they don't have as much opportunities. They have poorer schools. They're going to live 20 years less. So when we talk about what's going on now, when we have somebody like Bernie Sanders who has a platform that his platform literally checks all those boxes because he has one of the most comprehensive educational plans. He wanted to give everybody universal health care. He wanted to invest in public housing. What I think the number's like $1.5 trillion investing in public housing, and so on, and so on and so forth. So you have this somebody, right, who has missed the opportunity by outside forces, who is not going to be able to institute these things, at least have the conversations to get these things going. So that's why I say it's painful to have these conversations right now, realizing that Biden is who we got right now, and he can't even remember his first name when it matters.
Yeah, I was like that movie. The movie Parasite. Has anyone seen that movie?
Yeah,
not yet.
One of the best movies ever.
One of the main tenets of the movie is the fact that the social elite in, I think, South Korea, they get to live in these high, wonderful mansions and stuff. They're separated from the rest of society. That goes to exactly what you're saying. The social, what have I said?
Social determinants of health.
Boom. The social but literally, it's the how high are you up closer to the sun on these hills and stuff like that.
You see grass.
You see grass, sunlight. Everybody has their own plots of land. But when you go down, you travel downwards, all the poor people, all the people below this economic line, they live in these tight quarters. Literally, they're subjected to flooding that just washes them out of their home all the time.
Yeah.
So the Parasite, one of the main folks of the movie is that these people are trying to find ways to climb that social ladder to literally not just climb an economic ladder, but literally climb upwards, go up high and exist and have roles and jobs in these homes above that economic line. And that's so true.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think the thing that people miss about the movie is that you have to think and question yourself too, is who is the real parasite? Because the people up top, they're feeding off the people at the bottom. And the people at the bottom are trying to scheme their way up top. So who's the real parasite?
That's but when we think about Black people being disproportionately affected by this virus, when we think about those structures, those social determinants of health, it's because of that, because this structure, right, wasn't built for us. They're like, we have poor environments, so we're going to be affected by this. Like most of Black people are working at the post office. They are working at these fast foods, right? So they're putting themselves on the front line. So that's why we have these disparities. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm sorry, man.
He's our age.
Is he good?
He worked for UPS. He's doing much better now, but
that's good.
He live in like the New York area, but I mean, he's just at risk, just like you're saying, man. It's wild.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, I did want to touch bases real quick on something that we were talking about earlier in the conversation.
Who's that? Rob, you typing?
Oh no, my bad. That's my fingers.
So I wanted to touch base on
pick up everything.
Essentially, we were speaking on kids and how many. Well, some of us spoke on how many Cap was. But growing up, our parents always used to say, jobs like lawyer, engineer, doctor, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And within this, I guess I want to say within the surge of maybe let's say 2014. Like a serious spike in creatives, I would say, especially within our community spiked. So a lot of people are into freelance type of work, whether it be makeup, photography, videography, whatever the case may be. So right now, a lot of people are in an unfortunate situation because of Corona. So with some of you guys having kids and thinking about that step, what will be the direction you will point your kids into, since it's with this pandemic in play and you see how a lot of people are in unfortunate situations?
I mean, what I teach my kids is you have to have your own, because nobody can take it from you. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, whether you go to school and you have advanced degrees, if you work for somebody else, you don't control your own fate. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, one of my best friends is a doctor. He's a doctor of physical therapy. He has to take hours and hours of PTO right now because he has less clients that he can see due to the virus. So by example, by what our African parents tell us is go to school, get a good job. He a doctor. He's using PTO to, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, he has a job. He is an employee. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's the arts, whether you work in the workforce or you do IT, it doesn't matter. You have to have something for yourself. You have to have multiple streams of income, and you can't depend on any one entity for your livelihood at the end of the day, man. That's why I teach my kids is work. I mean, everybody has to work for somebody. I ain't gonna be Dame Dash status and tell them you a sucker if you got a job. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, at the same time, I'm like, yo, work your job as long as you can until you're able to do something else, because at the end of the day, I mean, you can't put your life in somebody else's hands.
That's why we got this melanated fathers, dog.
You
know what I'm saying? That's why I'm trying to get the popping, man. You feel me, dog? You know, I'm trying.
My kids asked me to come with me to take a kid to work day. I was like, man, I don't want y'all seeing me work for nobody.
I feel
you know what I'm saying? I told them just like that. I said, I'm not bringing y'all to my job for what? I said, as my business pop, y'all can come to that day, but I'm not. Y'all ain't coming here to see me do, you know what I'm saying, XYZ. Put food on the table. I make really good money, but that's not the end goal. You know what I mean?
But I think too, to what Rob is saying, it's like you see a lot of our African aunties who are nurses, and like they're really on the front line now because of this stuff.
Yeah, in danger.
Because they told you to go for that job dependency, job security, all those things that you know, like, all right, you're always gonna have a job, and they're all literally like they're at risk now. And I think it's gonna be worse because as more of this thing goes on and it's not protecting them properly, we're gonna see a lot more African aunties and, you know, uncles, some that might work as nurses, you know, be affected by this. We're gonna see a lot more of them like catching this thing.
I urge y'all, man. I know it. Money. I get it, man.
I'm thinking about telling my mom to quit, man.
You got to. Because my mom a nurse. We had to have that tough convo. I'm telling you, bro. I mean, we on the front lines. We gotta step up.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that angle and that point, but it's still in the same context, right? When you don't, for example, like Rob said, when you don't have the mindset of multiple streams of income, you can't necessarily, I wouldn't say fault, because fault is like a harsh word, but having a job that, like, even during this time, you can still get paid, you can still take care of your day-to-day bills, even if you want, like, you can still spend a little extra on yourself. It's not something that, within those jobs that your parents told you to do, it's not like far-fetched. In the situation of the physical therapist, like Rob said, that kind of sucks because you're tapping into money that's going to run out eventually.
Yeah. But my thing is that I feel like culturally, where we make the mistake is that we should be pushing ourselves to do what we love. You understand what I'm saying? If you pick health field because you have a passion for that, that means you have a passion for helping people. That means that you want to be on that. Like something like this is like, yo, you tightening up your belt and you like, let's get it. Right. I'm good. God got me all that. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for a mission and purpose, and I'm gonna be okay. You understand what I'm saying? But you go into that mindset where it's like you do something just to make money, or you do something because it sounds in vogue. Nah, you know what I mean? Like we should give ourselves the creative freedom to figure our own lane out.
We have the luxury of this.
I think it's you.
Oh, but it was like find that endeavor, find that business you can work on, find that to create your wealth, even if it's not, you're not a doctor. So what? It's my business. This is what I do.
Like, if you could go back in time, we would have done econ. You know what I'm saying?
What would y'all have done then?
Nigga, anything. I probably would have went to school for film. I'm a big film person. Like I love the study of film. I probably would have went to school for something like that. But you know, us growing up, you only know what your parents teach you. Like think about it this way. Like I was complaining to my sister the other day. We were just having like a little talk, and I was just like, "Yo, with the GPA I had and the SAT score I had, why did I go to the school I went to?" You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you only are, as a minor, you're only as good as the information your parents has for you.
Yeah,
And
that's absolutely
we
true.
have to do our best to be better than what our parents were and inform our kids that you can do anything, as long as you plan for it, the right way. And if school is the lane that you want your kids to go through, then tell them to go to school for, I don't know, building rockets, drawing comics, making film, playing sport, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can. The wheelhouse is big as far as education is concerned. Niggas got masters in social media. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But like
And
our generation, but our generation, we were taught to do very, very traditional type. I mean, in many instances, scary ass type of gigs because that's all we knew was available.
It's also because,
in our parents' defense, these jobs didn't exist back then, and they were looking at dependency.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that I don't know, most of us are first gen, second gen, but it's like when people come, when our folks come here, we have to establish the legacy. So they trying to make sure that their sacrifices or whatever they had to do to get here isn't in vain. They don't want to have their children come and be messed up. So we now have the opportunity to tell our children, they can do whatever they want. And I think that's just natural. But I think like on the other note, like I'm a creative person. I'm fortunate to not have parents who forced the stem down my throat. I went to school, film and media and advertising. So I've always been that person. But, I kind of had a resentment for people who chose that path because I called them the basic Africans. Y'all just basic Africans. But,
that's real though.
Know what I know now about like disparities that exist in healthcare and other infrastructures. We still need like black doctors and black black engineers and black lawyers who are not taking exactly. So we still need that. But I agree with you, y'all. Like you got to tell your child to whatever they want, whatever they have a passion for, because that'll just make them better at what they're doing. At
the end of the day, you can fail in anything. You can go to school to become an accountant and fail. You can go to school to be a doctor and lose your license. There's so many things that can happen that you might as well just do what makes you happy.
Absolutely.
And there's a lane for everything, you know what I'm saying? And you just have to be able to foster an environment where if they're gonna do something that they want, make sure that it's the best, that they're disciplined in whatever craft it is and that they work hard for it. That's it.
Yeah, because the main reason why I'm asking, because I'm even thinking about cool. In the next 20 plus years, I do plan to have a family, kids, all that. Yeah. And I know I'm going to want to point my kids in the direction as to what I see they gravitate to. So like for me, for example, I used to always gravitate to music and anything technology-wise, right? But I didn't see myself like, I never saw myself as like, oh, I'm going to be working for somebody doing this for the entire time of my life. Like I wanted to man my own shit in a field that essentially is considered essential because at least because of my IT, I'm able to still work. You know what I'm saying? So I think just putting these things in perspective allows me to like, all right, cool. I don't mind if my daughter or son becomes a nurse or a doctor, whatever the case may be. But back to what you said, Rob, like if I'm working for somebody as a doctor or a nurse, then yeah, I wouldn't want my kids to see that. But if I'm gonna put my kids, I would much rather, all right, I work for somebody as a nurse or a doctor, but I have my own practice or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the bigger picture of everything. That's at least that's what my head is.
I feel like everyone on the screen has creative juice in them. My parents didn't invest in that. You feel me? Like you wouldn't be on the screen right now if you didn't have a creative juice in you. You know what I'm saying?
I never thought I was creative until recently, honestly. I never really dreamed. I never really had any big dreams because it was always hammered in my brain to think very linear. You know what I mean? And you really, really have to unlearn and reteach yourself a whole new way of thinking to survive in the generation that we've grown up in.
We're still learning today. The learning doesn't stop, and that's what I think is important. Like, I mean, like looking now, I see. I don't think it's. We all have to do this, but that post that say, what new skills? Like even, like for example, like when I started teaching Yoruba,
I never envisioned myself doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it is, like we can all evolve, we can all get better. Yeah. This is 2020. Maybe by 2023, something else would have came out.
For sure.
So, another Corona?
Yeah.
I pray not. I'm just saying, like, I mean, but it was a time that people probably couldn't envision, like people working from home. Like, for example, I'm a mental health therapist. Now we doing medicine. We doing health, where like, you know, like we do therapy just how we're having.
Right. I had a session yesterday.
Yeah, I had one last week.
I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, I need a therapist, man.
Hey, bro, I got a good one.
Man.
Hit me offline. I got a couple good ones.
Recommend for my man King Mitty, man. Well, they can't even do that. You got to find one in Cali, because it's like different laws that unless they're.
I got some out there.
Okay, yeah. Talk to him. Because, you know, usually to do telemedicine, you got to be in the same state, but and then plus that person has to be licensed in the state that
they're
practicing in. Yeah. But, you know, like I said, man, the society evolves, so, you know, we just can't be like stubborn to saying, yo, I'm this way, this is what it is, and we have to be open-minded and be open to, you know, evolve.
100%. Well, fellas, we wrapping up. Greatly appreciate this conversation today. I think it's something that was much needed within this Ronin time, and I think even amongst ourselves, like just you know, opening our palette to not only politics and its BS, but also, you know, understanding what
culture, man.
You know, our brother Sam was doing, and even just elaborating on our own personal feelings on what's going on.
It was a lot of fun. Can I say one thing? It's crazy. I'm just thinking about it, yo. Like everybody on here, you know, known each other. I've known y'all, all y'all dudes for at least 10 years. Like Sam, I met Sam in 2002.
Yeah,
that's
high school.
18 years.
Yeah. Me too.
Oh, you went to Largo too, Sam?
Yeah. You went to Largo?
Okay. Nah, my sister graduated from Largo though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, you know, it's
where you graduate from?
I went to Rose.
Okay.
Smart brother.
Oh, fancy man.
I met my first week of my freshman year at Frostburg.
Yeah, man.
Early, bro. I met Rob early.
2004.
So it's
damn. Like people used to really resent Roosevelt's kids, yo.
Everybody hated us, yo.
They were good. They were good at everything, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, we had the Largo
Rose Duke of this shit.
Exactly. They like
y'all were,
yo.
And we was just like, all right, forget it. Now let's go.
It's funny because I almost went to Largo because I lived 5 minutes from Largo and like 30 minutes from Rose, but you know, I just didn't like Largo.
I feel you. But before we get out of here, man, have y'all watched anything new? Whether it be Netflix, Hulu.
I just started season 3.
Black
Ozark.
as fuck.
It's fire.
You said what?
Everybody keeps saying Black as.
Oh yeah, Black as fuck. Yeah, on Netflix. I gotta catch that. I ain't watched it yet.
I gotta check that out.
It's alright. I just finished Ozark, so
I want to say Kenya Barris from Blackish doing Black as fuck too. Yeah.
It's not great, but I still have to finish it. I see it's intent, but it's like
what's that?
Black as fuck. It has moments.
Okay.
I think it has moments.
I saw the trailer and was disappointed, but I'm gonna still give it a shot.
Yeah, they said divisive on Twitter. What people were saying on Twitter.
They said it gets better. I'm on episode 4 and I'm still waiting for it to get better.
How many episodes?
Yeah, Ozarks is phenomenal though.
Ozarks is fire.
That's probably some of the.
Did y'all know that?
Ozarks?
There's this girl on season 3. This black girl. She went to Frostburg.
That's her?
What girl?
In Ozarks?
The black girl on Ozark in season 3.
Pregnant joint, right?
Yes, she went to Frostburg.
What? She went to Frostburg?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Rep the Berg all day.
What year was she? Because I knew she looked familiar. I think she
graduated in like 2000 or 2001. She a little bit older.
She old head.
I kept trying to figure out where I knew Shorty from.
Wow.
Yeah, she's good.
I actually don't have
the detective, right? The pregnant one.
I ain't that far in the season yet. I only finished episode 2 of season 3. So but I follow some other people that was posting her that was at the Bird with her, and I was like, oh snap. So yeah,
that's dope.
She cool. She followed me and everything. She yeah.
So I watched this. I've been watching the show. It's not within like this me doing it again. I did Westworld last time. This one is.
Westworld is everything. Westworld is fire.
Thank you, brother. Thank you,
brother. But you definitely got your mind. Got to be in a whole nother universe to catch it. That's
You might fall asleep. You gotta get up.
You gotta watch that, John. It took me literally 3 tries of watching like episode 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 to finally it stick. But when it stuck, it was like one of the best written things I've ever seen. Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah, I gotta get back.
I've seen the first season. The first season was tough. I just can't keep up with the second one.
The second was hard.
The second was difficult, but the end. All HBO shows knock your head off about episode 8, and then episode 9 everything comes together, and then episode 10 is good.
Except for the final season.
HBO undefeated. Yeah, fuck D&D. I'm fucking them up on set. D&B, I see them in person. It's a problem. Like they ruined my life. They ruined my life, like for real.
It's a show called 100 Humans on Netflix. If you have free time,
I started watching that yesterday.
It's a bunch of social experiments. You know what I mean? Just exploring how the brains of humans act. So they grab 100 humans from any race, gender, or whatever, and it just like hit them with different stuff. You know what I mean?
Different countries or just America?
It's filmed in Los Angeles. The funny thing is, I was watching it, and there's a dude in there that when I was shooting this video, I was doing behind the scenes for this music video. One of the dudes that they used in the experiment was actually in there, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Wow.
I see. That's how I was able to tell.
I'm gonna give y'all 2 quick examples of the type of experiments they run. Right. So they did one where they were trying to check like if someone who's more attractive is more likely to go to prison with a longer sentence. So they separated group 50-50, right? And they went in and they explained crimes that these different people did, and they showed their headshots, the same crime, right? They were like, this lady right here left her baby in the car, the child passed away, whatever, right? And group A with the unattractive woman, on average, they
gave her 33 years, dog.
Group B, with the attractive woman, it was like
they gave her 17 years, dog.
That's fucked up.
It's her. They were like, she's hurting also because it's her child that suffered. She ended up with like less than half the amount of time, and they were like, "Wow, it's because of the
that
tax."
Is fucked up.
Bruh,
I had to grab the mic on that one.
Another very quick example. So I just want to watch yesterday. I'm going slowly through it because I'm like, yo, for me, I love this type of stuff, dog. Because I like to see how humans think. So this joint, they put people in a room. It was like a gun target practice thing, right? They were like, all right, two potential criminals pop up. One is holding a cell phone. One is holding a gun. You have the gun. Try to shoot the one who's a criminal, right? So they did it on purpose. They did white people, then they threw in a black dude. Just to test the proportion of how often people would shoot black criminals.
They sprayed that nigga up. I don't even know. I'm just guessing.
To even double check against bias, they picked a black guy who was a production assistant that has been helping the people get food every day. So they knew this black guy.
Oh my God.
They worked the black dude up. And at that point, half the people started crying like, oh, it's Wes. Oh my God. Yo, like,
most of these people, most of the people were white, or they all were white.
They did all races.
They all look the same.
They take a combination of people. But that's the thing I started watching it yesterday, and I always thought like, all right, are they going like the 100 people that they're gathering? Are they gathering based on some level of statistics to match the country or something? Are they like getting like maybe like 22% black people for this experiment to like, does that number represent the country in a way? And I kept thinking about that, and I was like, it possibly can't match the whole country because it's hard to find people who fit certain demographics that specifically.
Yeah, it might be a random sample. That I'm not sure on. But it's just interesting to explore human psyche.
No, that's
I'm gonna have to bookmark that joint.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm gonna watch it now.
Yeah.
One joint I was watching, I told this in a group chat. It's a slow documentary. It's not something I'm gonna tell you go run to, but if you have time, it's on Netflix. I mean, not Netflix. It's on YouTube actually. The BBC, they put out like a 20-part documentary where they talk about the history of Africa. So they're looking at African history before like colonialism came involved and all that. So like before Europeans even got to Africa, they like, and it's supposed to be like developed by Africans for Africans. So it's pretty dope. I've been watching the episodes randomly. The joint I watched last night, they was talking about how, because I didn't even think about this, but like certain places in like Sudan and Morocco, how the Arabic influences when like Arabs came in like the sixth century and all that stuff, how they influenced the culture of those kingdoms that was in Africa. And like, you don't think about like, damn, like these Sudanese people, do they identify with more Arabic or do they identify with more Black? You don't think about things like that. So
they trying to make the Moors be more Arab than African. It's all the same, man.
Yeah. So, but it's a good thing to watch if you have time. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
Check it out.
Yeah, just YouTube, the history of Africa.
YouTube hogs your whole device. You can't watch it and do nothing else. That's the only problem. I don't watch YouTube.
I got like, if you look at my setup, I got like 5 computers there.
You're a hacker. You're hacking.
Like, I'm on my iPad right now, and I'll show you. I'm on my iPad.
Midi Snowden and shit.
Facts, bro. I'm telling y'all, don't play with this guy.
Chill, y'all. I'm not a hacker.
All right, cool. So anything else before we get out of here, fellas?
Hey, appreciate the love, man. It's good talking to y'all. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Sam. Nice to meet you, man. This is definitely what's up.
Pleasure.
So hopefully, you know what I'm saying, once quarantine is up, you know what I'm saying, everybody got some time, we can, link up.
Yeah, man, I got my life back, man. This past year has been crazy. Not only was I doing the campaign, I was doing my grad program, too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You finished? You film school,
Yeah,
right?
I finished. Nah. It was a journalism program at Syracuse. So graduation was supposed to be like in 2 weeks, but, they shut that shit down. But, yeah, feels good to be free, though.
That's what's up, man.
So,
thanks, y'all.
You deserve the Tory Lanez treatment, man.
Documentary before we get
quarantine.
Oh, no. Jordan documentary, I care. Yes, no.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm in there. Last Dance, baby. I know more.
What happened?
Oh
yeah, definitely. I'm gonna catch that.
Y'all, let's do a watch party, man. That'll be dope.
I'm in there.
Set it up.
I wasn't even a big Michael Jordan fan, but man, he was one of the greatest people to watch play basketball. Though.
So
you know what I'm saying?
When is the Kareem documentary coming out? When is the Oscar Robinson documentary?
Why don't you make it, y'all?
All right. Well, that be
Jordan.
Definitely good seeing y'all. This is my first time seeing y'all since Ghana, so you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Happy New Year, bro.
But appreciate y'all, man. We about to roll out. Y'all make sure. Do y'all want to give y'all socials for them to follow y'all on, or y'all don't really want to follow y'all?
I will always plug mine at Gutful, and then the family page at Totally Talbert. By tomorrow, y'all go on shoptherapture.com, get y'all masks. They got filters. They got ones without filters. We got ones for kids. Get y'all some stylish stuff. Protect y'all out in these streets so the Rona don't bite you in the ass.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to get some now. What's that website again?
Shoptherapture.com. Rapture with a W.
Yeah, Rapture.
Okay.
WRAPTUR.
Text me.
Or you can DM the Totally Talbert IG, and we'll get you squared away.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you.
All right, good luck.
Filters, and this is the thing. Y'all know y'all can trust him. He's here. This is our.
Oh yeah.
This is not trying to.
I should have brought one to put on right now. My wife's gonna be salty, but yeah. But go on the page. They on the page though.
We're gonna put it in the bio and all that too.
Yeah. I'm literally about to. As soon as we hang up, I'm gonna order a couple.
All right, I appreciate it.
Hey, Rob, your Squarespace ain't up, bro. It's not up.
It's not up yet. No, I said tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, I need the kids joint, man.
It'll be out before this pod drops though.
For sure.
Yeah, but that's why I said if it's not up there, you just go on. By the time the pod drop, it'll definitely be up, and then just go or like I said, if you want it, immediately just go ahead and DM the Totally Talbert page. We'll get you squared away.
Yeah, I want it immediately.
That's why I like Nia, man. Nia,
right,
husband,
all right. Sam, you want to send me drop your socials or not?
I'm good. I don't care.
If you know him, you know him. All right.
Sam, you even have a social anymore, bro? Damn.
I do. Don't I follow you?
Sam on Twitter. I be talking to Sam on Twitter, so
yeah, I be rapping on Twitter.
I'm not on Twitter though.
I I can't. Yeah,
Hey,
there's
Twitter
Sam
Live,
Originals.
There we go.
Twitter Live. That's the one app I won't delete.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'll keep Twitter before anything.
Yo, I hated Twitter for the
Sam.
longest. I'm just starting to like Twitter again recently.
What's good?
I'm going back, bro.
What's in your camera bag, man?
My camera bag.
You got the 2
What gear
tripods
you
in the
working
back.
with?
Oh dang.
Maybe
I said what's in it?
Yeah, I said what gear you working with? I know
can't
like a lot of
hear you now.
YouTubers.
I can't hear you now.
They be sharing. Oh,
Okay.
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you.
A lot of the YouTubers, they be sharing what gear they work with and all that. So I was like, let me ask you.
I got a Fuji XH1. That's my B-roll camera. And then I got a Blackmagic 6K, and then just a bunch of stabilizing gear and audio gear and stuff. Campaign ain't pay for nothing. They cheap. It's all mine.
So your office look nice. You make me gotta go like upgrade my office and put some nice pictures in there and whatnot.
It's only the pictures, man. The pictures get it popping. Just throw some art up. It makes the world of difference.
I got you.
I do got my library right here that I'm proud of. So,
That's love.
What's up, bro?
Hey, y'all some adults out here, man.
When I said I had plants, y'all try to fry me.
Yes,
I wanted to. I ain't say nothing though, but I wanted to.
I'm with you, man. I had a plant. I'm not a good plant parent, so I just got fake ones.
I'm allergic for the look. Everything.
Oh man,
my allergies be on fire.
I got an aloe vera joint. I think my aloe vera plant about to die on me right now. And they supposed to
water that
take care of.
We still recording.
Put it in the window. They last long. Or just cut it open and just start taking the aloe out of it now, and then replant the one that you cut.
We still.
Yeah, I got to hop off, y'all, but it's been real.
All right, y'all be safe.
Same here, man.
All right.
God bless y'all. Y'all stay safe. Stay Rona free. That sucker free.
You did the outro? We did the outro?
Yeah, we are.
Rob, you gonna be hearing from me really soon, my brother.
Y'all know I make time for y'all, man. I'll be around. Y'all hit me. I need anything, man.
Yeah, I need some masks for my little one, bro.
Yeah,
and my little niece and nephew.
Yeah, just let me know.
I need masks for myself, so.
Same here.
I ain't been outside my house in a week now.
I'm gonna ask my sister and them if they need any for the little one too.
Yeah, cause I mean I be wearing, but like whenever we push her outside, like when I put mine on, she just be like, she puts that shit down. Like
yeah, we've been on back order. We had to stop taking orders for like a week just so we can catch up because we didn't expect it to be this big. She kind of just put it out there, kind of on the humble, and a couple people, and then she posted what somebody else posted what she made, and then it like kind of blew up after that.
Yeah, I just posted on my joint. So do your daughters they leave it on or do they?
I mean, they don't leave the house, so now they ain't wearing them. But the twins, I be taking them outside for walks and whatnot, just so they don't break up my house.
Do they keep it
gotta
on?
wear this. Not really, because they boys. They pull at it and whatnot.
Yeah, my daughter do that, and so I be like, damn, I'm protected, but she just.
Yeah, I mean, but it does work though.
Yeah,
you can't get her to keep it on at all for them.
Bruh, she's so super, like she touching everything. Dog, she be blowing me because I'm like, I'm trying to protect you, but nah, bruh, she would take it off, man. But that joint is, that's not cloth though. So like cloth, I'm thinking like if I tie that shit, you know what I'm saying? she ain't gonna have no choice, like.
Nah, she's still gonna pull that thing off.
You bet I don't. I would whoop your ass.
All right, fellas, y'all be safe.
Yeah, man. I'm about to go give me some food.
I'm
about to make them.
Great episode.
No doubt.
Yo.
Thanks,
they got the Teddy Riley versus what's it called? Babyface.
Today?
IG battle. Yeah.